So if you were to grab a financial calculator and let's say you've got $200,000 to use as a down payment for an apartment building or a piece of investment real estate, that would be your present value variable. And if N equals 10, that's invested for 10 years. If we're able to get, let's say, a 25% return on equity on your investments, then your $200,000 becomes worth about $1.8 million after 10 years. That's great. But unfortunately, $1.8 million is not enough for most people to retire on. But the equation and that little graph on the cocktail napkin starts to take shape when we look at what happens to this number as you go beyond 10 years. So look what happens. The first 10 years, you get to 1.8 million. In the next 5 years, you get to $5.6 million. So it more than triples in the 5 years after the first 10. And then again, 5 years later, it goes to $17 million from only $200,000 invested once at the beginning of this super simple generic investment plan. So that sounds kind of ridiculous that I'm showing you a chart starting at 20% ROE. We're going to explain why that's not ridiculous in a minute. But suffice it to say, not only will you have this kind of net worth after you execute on a plan like this, but it's a reasonable assumption that you should be able to make about a 5% passive cash return on equity on your future value at any point in time in this portfolio. So 15 years on, 5% of 5.6 million. What is that? $280,000 a year, something like that. Now we're starting, that's looking pretty good as far as the financial independence goes. And of course, at 17 million, it starts to look a lot better.